So back a few weeks when we had that episode focusing on Photo, that side character who a lot of people who never saw the original Kino's journey thought that we were witnessing Kino's backstory. Of course, anyone who's read the source material or seen the original knew that it was a different character, but it was completely understandable why so many people thought that that could be Kino's backstory. But now we get the Kino's backstory fully. Now, this was in the original series. I think it was like episode 4 in the original Kino's journey, but you get to see how Kino ended up where she was. And a lot of people I saw said they wished that the episode order was flipped from last week's episode of Kind Country with this because they thought you could see the parallels better. I disagree. You could either go Kind Country to Kino's backstory or Kino's backstory to Kind Country, and the parallels are obvious between the little girl last week and Kino. So I disagree with that statement, but I will say I absolutely loved how they handled her backstory in this version. Now, when it came to the Colosseum, I thought the original did it better, but even then I thought that the original wasn't the best version of the Colosseum that we could have saw, but I actually prefer this version's telling of Kino's backstory the most. I think just really, like, in terms of the actual themes and, like, what it was trying to present to the viewer, it did it more or less one-to-one. If you compare the 2003, I believe, is when it came out, to this, pretty much on point. I just think the way some of the animation and some of the voice acting was in this episode just makes this episode stand above easily my favorite episode of this version. But also just, I felt like some of that animation, like seriously, like when the parents were kind of like, you know, freaking out, the way they were doing shaky cam, zooming in on the face, it just really got you invested and really made you feel the atmosphere so damn well. And I absolutely adored it. I love seeing that how, you know, you get to see once again, even though I already knew all this content, it was nice to see once again the original Kino come in repairing Hermes and pretty much teaching this girl who was pretty much sent to death. Like, she was going to have her head crack open and be turned into whatever the hell those adults were, and you can tell their screws were not all there. But I like how this traveler kind of like teaches Kino 2.0 about what it means to kind of be an adult and what it means to choose your life. And the fact that he sacrifices himself, it really shows you why Kino acts the way she does, but also still like where she picked up on so many of her ways of life because she kind of rebelled against the country that was trying to make her into the country of adults. And I absolutely adored how this version did it. Not much sticks out as being different from the original, just mainly the visuals and some of the way they executed some of the lines, but overall, I adored this episode. I know some people are going, probably most people are going to say they prefer the original just because that's the one they saw first, so that's one they're going to remember, like, oh, I prefer the original the way they did this, or etc. We know how that goes, but for me personally, there's been some aspects to some of the retellings that I've enjoyed more in this series, and some I didn't like as much as the original, but this one I absolutely adored. I actually like how Kind Country came before this. You can see the parallels from last week. I didn't talk about that episode, but I absolutely adored it. A lot of people shocked by that ending for obvious reasons. And supposedly, the last episode for this series, episode 12, is going to be adapting a story that hasn't been translated in the novels yet. That's what I read on Reddit. I could be completely wrong there, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what we're going to have next week. And yeah, this is a great episode of Kino's Journey. I'm really excited to see, for people who never saw the original or never read the original source material, what did you think of Kino's backstory? Because this was definitely one of the most interesting stories in the original, and still within the new one as well. But let me know your thoughts down in that comment section below. And before you leave, smack that like button to share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.